Hi guys, you're listening to Vaul. This weekend has been the Diablo 3 open beta, so to speak, that they are actually stress testing the servers so that anybody can actually download the game and play. So, thought I'd have a go. Diablo 3 is one of those games where I said to all of my friends, well, it's going to be a great game for our grandchildren to play. It's going to take a long time to come out, but hey, it looks like it's going to be coming out very soon actually, May the 15th I think. So, going to have a closer look. I've got a bnet account, which is VaulSC@gmail.com, so when the game does come out, feel free to add me. Occasionally I play StarCraft 2 as well. But yeah, Diablo 3, very similar to Diablo 2, which is good because I really like Diablo 2. If you go through my video channel and check out some of my other commentaries like Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, if you search for them, you can find them. On your account here, you can have a maximum of, I think it's 7 characters in the beta. I've created 4 so far, and the beta is very limited. You can only play through about 5 missions worth in Act 1. You can't get your character past level 13, and you can't go to a nightmare difficulty, but obviously in the full version everything will be available. It's quite cool how you can actually customize your little flag here. This is a marker which sort of represents your character, especially in game and public games with other players involved. So, of course, you can go and customize it very specifically or randomize it like I just did there. So that's very cool. My favorite character in Diablo has always been the Barbarian, and luckily for me the Barbarian has continued and has appeared in Diablo 3. They've kept him the same, just made him a bit more brutal. I'm actually joining a public game right now, and you're about to see that there's a lot of lag, but the lag isn't because of the game or because of the beta, it's because of Fraps, which is my video capture software, and obviously my computer not powerful enough to run the game smoothly and have it to actually capture video at the same time. So as soon as I turn the video capture off, the game runs smoothly. But this is just a quick indication of what multiplayer is like, if you guys haven't actually checked it out already. By the way, you know, if you're living in New Zealand like I am, the beta is actually going to be up for the rest of today and probably part of tomorrow, because we are 24 hours ahead of the United States. But yeah, Diablo 3, a lot of fun. I feel like it's going to be one of those games just going to be quite fun in the short term and the mid term. It's going to be very similar to Diablo 2, just in the long term, and obviously they'll come out with expansions later on. But it's a good quality game. Blizzard always reliable for making very nice, polished titles, and fun one to play with your friends. The combat system and the skill system, very basic and simple, designed to be used just with the mouse and the numbers on the keyboard. Obviously it gets gradually more complicated as you level up and become more involved in the game, but they've designed it well for new players and people wanting to play very casually, and that's really what Diablo is all about for Blizzard. You guys are actually looking at the monk now. This is a separate character I created, which I just sort of take a look at. The monk's quite a fun character to play, very melee oriented when you first start it. I'm not too sure what she's like because I haven't actually played this character past level 6. But it's quite cool how she attacks very quickly, and she's got that combination of sort of punching and kicking, and it's sort of a bit of a throwback to the assassin character in Diablo 2, although what they've done is they've taken the assassin character and sort of taken the martial arts aspect of the assassin and made it into the monk, and taken the sort of ranged and shooting abilities and made it into the demon hunter. I'm going to show you the wizard now, which is a character that I found a bit difficult to actually get started with. With the wizard, I think it's a little bit more like Diablo 2, where when you first start your level 1 character, your character feels a bit underpowered, a little bit gimped, because you don't really have those really powerful, big crowd control abilities which just thrash all of the monsters on the screen. And I think that's a little bit what it's like in Diablo 3. I found it a little bit difficult to get started. He's got a couple of neat little abilities. My favourite is the little ice ray, but for whatever reason my particular wizard didn't do very well in Diablo 3. I'm about to show you guys an example of how I found him quite tough. He has a defense ability here. Of course, you can actually assign one of your abilities to the left click button, which is a very basic attack, then a more powerful ability to the right click, which burns through your resources, in this case arcane power for the wizard. You can also assign charged cooldown powers to your number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 keys, respectively. In this case, I really ought to be using the Frost Nova thing, which actually freezes them, but having a crack at the little ice ray, as you can see, it's not really doing a very good job of freezing them and slowing them down, so my poor old wizard getting very swamped straight away. And with my Barbarian, when I took him to level 13, I never actually died with him, even once. Never even came close to dying, but with the Wizard it's actually quite easy for me to die. So here's an example of what happens when your Diablo 3 character dies in the beta. You actually get to revive your character very close to your corpse and actually come back into the sort of corporeal world. So heading back up the stairs just to show you what abilities he has. I'm going to swap out my my Frost Ray, my little Cold Ray, for his arcane exploding ball thing. So here it is here. Having a crack at it, that's the defensive ability you see first of all, and then just burning straight through the arcane power to actually get some crowd control going, but he just doesn't have enough mana, arcane power, he's calling it, to actually deal with this crowd, and I'm easily getting boxed into a corner. Life globes dropping as you kill enemies, so if I was able to pick them up I'd be fine, but the wizard of course can't really get through the enemy very easily unless he kills them with spells, and he can't cast them, so this is me dying here, but really no fault for the wizard. I'm sure other people are having much better experiences with him. On now to my favourite character, which is the Barbarian. Always has been my favourite character and always will be. I really love the close combat visceral experience of the Barbarian, and here's a part sort of midway through to the end of the beta or the beta missions, where you encounter the Templar called Cormac, and this is a good example of a follower that you can actually recruit in your travels. Very similar to the guys in Diablo 2, where you can equip them, they level up by themselves, but they're not as powerful as they need to be to actually steal your thunder, so you're still actually doing most of the killing yourself, which is very important. And as you can see here, the Barb kicking a lot of ass. I've actually got my guy to power level 13, so that's why he is really not struggling against the enemies much in combat. You can get your Barb with dual wielding, one weapon each hand, or you can go for a close combat weapon plus shield. I have gone for a double-handed weapon, which I found to be the most entertaining. Barb obviously can be equipped with a number of different really fun abilities. The leap is my favourite, that's it there, and he's got a cleave ability where he swipes through a group of enemies, which I use quite commonly, but also frenzy, which is a little bit similar to frenzy in Diablo 2, but not exactly the same. As you guys can see, waypoints have actually stuck around, very similar to what they were in Diablo 2.
There is no reason we should hunt alone.
This is the Templar here. Bit of dialogue. Often you have conversations with your followers, as you guys can see here. Just working their way through the dungeon. So visually, I really quite like the game. It's very neat and concise, and I think they've done a good job sort of coming out with a game which looks good for a number of different platforms. Here's a good example of the skill system. You've got 3 different choices for your left-click button, and you get runes as you level up, which actually change what each ability does as you become more powerful. On your right-click button, you can assign an ability which drains through your fury, which builds up as you attack, and you've got a defensive ability which you can assign to the 1, 2, 3, and 4 keys. I think I said 5 earlier, but I believe there's only 4. And you have a passive ability too, which is always active and or always passive, I should say, always affecting what you're doing during the game. So yeah, quite a fun little system, and it provides just enough complexity for you to be interested in the game later on. One thing I won't really cover in this video is what you can do with your gear and your items, with crafting them and how should I put it, upgrading yourself. But I don't really know too much about it because it's still only the beta. But I will pick up the game next month, and I will be playing it a bit. So if you guys are interested in partying up with me and having a bit of a bash in the dungeons with my Barbarian, whatever he's called. This particular Barbarian is Fearburger, which was the name of one of my classic barbs back in D2, but I think I'll create a new character for Diablo 3. Anyway, this is the follower just having a bit of a vendetta with one of his former allies and helping me through the dungeon here. Cormac's only desire is to recover the tomes of his order in this dungeon and vanquish the Skeleton King, which obviously is King Leoric. who was a character in Diablo 1, one of the guys that was corrupted by Diablo himself. So I'm just having a look now at another character here. In fact, what I'm going to do is create a brand new character, and this is the character creation screen. We get to choose one of 5 classes as well as the gender of that class. And the one class I haven't actually tried out yet at all is the Witch Hunter. Sorry, not the Witch Hunter, the Witch Doctor. I'm mixing them up with the Demon Hunter. So we've got the Demon Hunter, and I've created a male one. This guy's going to be called Doctor. And it will give me an opportunity to show you guys what the game is like from the very beginning. So just going to load up a brand new scenario here, a brand new game, and we'll have a look at how Diablo 3 opens, or at least how the beta opens. I assume that when the Diablo 3 game actually comes out, the first 5 missions will be as the beta were, but then you can progress from there. You can't get to Nightmare difficulty, as I may have mentioned in the beta, but in the full game you will be able to, as well as Hell difficulty. So it'll be much like Diablo 2, and I think that's good. I mean, if it's not broken, you know, don't bother fixing it. I think it's a good philosophy. A lot of people really loved Diablo 2 and still play it, and Diablo 3, if it fixes what was wrong with Diablo 2, namely the corruption of, you know, the hacking and the item trading and so forth, and the imbalance with the characters, then it'll be fantastic, and it will provide hours and hours of fun for everybody. But yeah, looking really cool. I think there were a few minor things I didn't really like about Diablo 3, but I can't quite remember what they were. I've really enjoyed it. I think, you know, maybe it's the characters. I love the Barbarian, and I always will, but none of the other characters really appealed to me, and I think that's a subjective thing. It's not a particularly objective thing where, you know, that will be the same for other people, but I felt like, you know, the Paladin was one of the really loved characters of Diablo 2, and there's no similar character to the Paladin in Diablo 3. He's really essentially become a follower, one of the minions that you can actually have follow you. The Druid was pretty cool, but you know, the Witch Doctor I don't feel, just in my opinion, is as cool as the Druid was. Demon Hunter is essentially just the assassin, and the Amazon is gone. But you know, what's obviously going to happen is in maybe a year's time or 2 years' time, Blizzard will actually put out an expansion to this game, as they do with all of the games, and they'll introduce more characters. So really, it's just a setup for that, and I guess a way for them to make more money, so that, I mean, obviously everybody will buy the actual game and then the expansions later on. But yeah, very sort of linear opening to the game, where you have to complete the missions in turn before you go back and complete other missions, although I imagine that later on in the other acts and through this act, you'll get a little bit more choice as to how speedily you go through the main quest. Generally the case in RPG games these days. Although what surprises me is that although with RPG games in general, a lot of companies have made a lot of innovative changes to the way that these sorts of games work, Blizzard is actually going right back to what worked with Diablo 2, because I mean that's copied and cloned so many times. Blizzard know that they're the granddaddy of that style of RPG, and they are really just showing, you know, what they can do with it, and I respect them for that. In this case, the Witch Doctor can actually get a really cool sort of ghoulish underworld spell here, where hands are grappling out of the ground to the enemies, which is quite a funky one. I guess he's the quirkiest character in Diablo 3 in my opinion, and fair enough. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little overview of Diablo 3. I'll be buying the game and playing it next month, so get in touch with me and just sort of share with you how I've been going with the beta. Thanks for checking it out.